batting, number 28, left-hander, Ruben Rivera.
Nothing. A's trail, 8th inning, and it is Ruben Rivera batting for the first time. Came in the 7th defensively for Darryl Strawberry.
Carlos Reyes' 38th appearance. Last appearance was a week ago in Baltimore.
Here's Bordick throwing out Rivera. 2 down in the 8th inning, and when Reyes pitched in that game, Ray, he had not pitched in some time, so his appearances have been few and far between lately. Carlos will face Charlie Hayes. Hayes hit a home run last inning. That's a ball. We were talking earlier about all the turnover on this Yankee team. They have used 48 players. A 49th would be Pat Listash, who is injured, obtained recently from Milwaukee. Ricky Bonas, a pitcher picked up the other day from the Brewers, will figure to be the 49th active player that would tie a team record. The Yankees in the '89 season used 49 players. It's kind of hard to believe a team that is so talented, picked to win at the beginning of the year, would equal the club record and maybe surpass it in number of players used. That's usually something that happens to a team that is down in the standings and having a relatively long season. Reyes goes 2-1 on Charlie Hayes. Two. While all these changes have been going on, the Yanks have been in first place 126 consecutive days. The most since back in the 1980 season. 3-2. Their lead over Baltimore is 4. The Orioles are in Anaheim tonight. Changeup that strikes out Charlie Hayes. A home run by Fielder leading it off, and the Yanks are up 5-0. Baseball by the numbers, brought to you by Miller Lite. Through 7 before he departs. David Cone, a no-hitter. In Yankee history, there have been 7. Mogridge, Jones, Pearson, Allie Reynolds, actually 8. He had a couple. 7 different pitchers to throw him. Rigetti, Abbott, and Gooden this season. Of course, Don Larson against the Dodgers in '56 had a perfect game. Yankee no-hitters are baseball by the numbers. David Cone, Ray goes 7 and throws no-hit baseball.
I tell you what, I give Joe Torre and Mel Stoudemire a lot of credit, because they're bringing this guy back. He hasn't pitched all summer, just 5 games, 4-1 on the season. Comes back from, again, a career-threatening surgery. So to try to make him a hero by pitching a no-hitter, at 84 pitches, he's at a 90-95 pitch count. You try to send him out there and he tries to overextend, you might have him back on the disabled list.
Mariano Rivera working to Scott Brocious. First pitch a strike. Now it's 1-1. I believe that the task for the Yanks is to win a pennant.
Absolutely.
That's what they're trying to do.
Rivera's pitched against the A's 4 times this year and got 5 hits total, a couple of runs.
Fastball hammered to short. Jeter to Martinez. Brocious retired.
Get a different look from Rivera to the A's hitters. Cone, 3 different types of pitches, a little off speed with his splitter, but Rivera goes right after the hitters with that 95-mile-an-hour fastball and does have a hard slider. But he likes to challenge the hitters.
The pitch is a ball to Terry Steinbach. Terry has struck out twice. Here's a drive to right center. O'Neill over and shags it easily. 2 up, 2 down in the 8th. And Matt Stairs will come up here and pinch hit for center fielder Kerwin Moore.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. Considering for center fielder Kerwin Moore, number 12, Matt Stairs.
Hitting .287, 8 homers, 19 RBIs. He's been hot with a bat this tour of duty since coming back from Edmonton. And as a pinch hitter, he is 7 for 13 with a couple of home runs. Swinging the bat very well, wasn't he, in New York?
Definitely. And as a pinch hitter, he said he likes to come in and swing the bat hard. Only now, Joe Girardi is thinking more of the no-hitter as they have a 5-0 lead. First pitch breaking ball is not necessarily challenging all the hitters with the fastball.
2 strikes on pinch hitter Matt Stairs. 5-0. The Yanks lead. A's 8th inning, 2 outs, bases empty. But the real story here is that the Athletics have not had a hit today. 1-2. Two. Still 2-2 on Stairs.
Well, such a different pitcher like A's saw in New York on the 23rd of August when Rivera threw about 65 pitches and only about 3 breaking pitches in that game. All fastballs, just reared back and threw the ball in 2 1/3 innings.
High fastball popped up, a lot of foul ground. Hayes giving chase. He's over there and he makes the catch. And the Yankees are 3 Oakland outs away from no-hitting the Athletics here in their home ballpark. We go to the 9th, 5-0 New York.
Defensive changes.
This program authorized under television rights granted by the Oakland Athletics solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Oakland Athletics Baseball Company is prohibited. Our next telecast here on KRON Channel 4 and our A's TV network will be Friday night from the Coliseum. Willie Adams due to pitch for the Athletics against the Kansas City Royals. Tomorrow night, a 7:05 start here. Don Wengert and Dwight Gooden. That'll be on Sports Channel. 7:35 Wednesday night on Sports Channel. Also, if you can't make it out, Dave Tailgater and Andy Pettit. Thursday an off day. Then Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday afternoon games here against the Royals. Hope you will be out often. David Cone, no hitting the A's through 7. Then Mariano Rivera comes in, has a 1-2-3-8, and now it's the Yankees' 9th. Carlos Reyes misses on his first pitch to second baseman Andy Fox. Jose Herrera moves from right to center. Matt Stairs stays in the game. He is in right field. Change up, and it's 1-1. Now 2-1. We go to the bottom of the 9th. It'll be Bordick, Herrera, and Batista Dew as the A's try to keep from being no hit for the 8th time since moving to Oakland. Now it is 3-1 on Fox. There has not been a no-hitter in this ballpark since July 13th, 91, when the Orioles no-hit the A's. And the Orioles used 4 pitchers in that no-hit effort. That's a strike, and it's 3-2.
Of course, Nolan Ryan no-hit the Athletics here at the Coliseum.
I guess he had a few no-hitters in his career.
Catfish had his perfect game here, but not. It was against the Twins.
Here's a pop-up out near second base. Bordick. He's got it, and 1 gone in the Yankee 9th inning.
The A's also no-hit. Maybe the California Angels.
Right, combined no-hitter.
Four pitchers, right.
Late in the season in '75, that was the game that Vita Blue started.
Right.
Glenn Abbott, Paul Lindblad, and Raleigh Fingers finished it up against the Angels. Joe Girardi, a big game, up to 299 with a 3-for-3 effort. The Yanks with 5 runs, 10 hits. The A's today, no runs, no hits, and there's a strike.
And he has a lot more in his mind right now than hitting. He's thinking about those 3 hitters that you mentioned. Rivera will be facing in the bottom of the 9th inning.
Of those 8 no-hitters thrown here at the Coliseum, Jim Hunter, Catfish had one, Vita Blue had one alone. Jim Palmer threw one here, as did Nolan Ryan. 2-strike pitch. He did not go around. Larry McCoy, the umpire at first base, makes the call. 1-2. There is Mariano Rivera. He will pitch the 9th, trying to complete the Yankee no-hitter. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Cecil Fielder telling David Cone that was a foul ball. Had a home run he hit.
Probably. I take it, though.
Yeah, definitely.
Reyes, the third A's pitcher, throws a 3-2 pitch, and Girardi takes it. Ball 4. How many no-hitters did you find yourself involved in as a player, Ray? Do you remember?
I was the final catcher in 4 innings of that combined no-hitter. Actually,
that counts.
Right. Gene Tenace started the game, caught 5. I finished the 4, and then caught Dennis Eckersley's no-hitter in Cleveland on Memorial Day of 1977.
Jeter swings and misses.
And we were no-hit by Jim Bibby. I think that should be in there as far as.
Yeah, that was here in July 30th, 73.
Right.
Jim Bibby for Texas. One hopper, Brocious, Batista, McGuire, and the A's turn their 3rd double play of the game. 172 on the year. Now to the crucial bottom of the 9th. 5-0 New York. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Toyota presents our pivotal plays of the game. The A's have been no-hit through 8. 2 defensive gems in the 7th. Charlie Hayes and Bernie Williams.
Great play by Charlie Hayes, diving to his left and throwing out Mark McGuire. That was one, and then Bernie Williams said, I can top that, and boy, does he. Maroa going not only for the base hit but a home run. Bernie Williams went to the track, had enough time to time his leap, take the glove over the fence, bring the ball back. Lost his hat, but showing there that he definitely had the ball in 2 great plays in the final inning, pitched by David Cone.
Well, there's David Cone. He'll watch nervously, I'm sure, as Mariano Rivera tries to complete a New York Yankee no-hitter here at the Oakland Coliseum. A Yankee lead of 5-0. The 9th hitter in the A's order, Mike Bordick, leads it off. The A's have had 3 base runners, all on walks. They've not had a base runner since the 4th. Grounder, Jeter gets a bad hop, stays with it, and 1 out here in the 9th inning. The Yankees trying to complete the 9th no-hitter in the history of the Coliseum. The A's have thrown 4, and they have been no-hit 4 times here in this ballpark.
Jose Herrera at the plate, and with Hayes playing in even with the bag. And I would think right now it'd be best if Hayes just moved back, because the odds of Herrera bunting, it's definitely a no-no in the 9th inning with 1 out trying to bunt. So with Hayes up even with the bag, it actually helps Herrera if he tries to go to the opposite field with that hard fastball from Rivera.
1 out, nobody on in the 9th. Herrera grounds one off the glove of Hayes. The play by Jeter. The throw not in time, and there'll be no hitter today. Now Joe Torre comes out, but the A's have a base hit here in the 9th inning with 1 out. Jose Herrera beats it out. The ball off the glove of Hayes. What an effort by Jeter, and it is a base hit. Herrera, 1 out, 9th inning single, spoils the New York Yankees no-hitter.
And again, there's a fastball away, and there's Hayes. If he's off the bag, if he's behind the bag, he's definitely safe. And a head-first slide got him in, and great call by Larry McCoy. A gutsy call, because umpires like to be a part of history as well. But take a closer look at it. There's the head-first slide, and the foot or the hand is on the bag, as Tino Martinez coming off thinking he had it.
Well, you described it so well. Hayes in at the grass, and you had suggested that he should have been back. First pitch, strike call to Batista.
You know, it's just one of those things in baseball. You don't actually, about the 6th inning on, you don't bunt. If a guy has a no-hitter, you're supposed to get a hit, and it just force of habit, I think, for the third baseman with the left-handed hitter to play even with a bag.
Joe Torre, the Yanks skipper, shaking his head. You don't think anybody's going to ask him about taking out Cone after 7? Those Yankee writers?
Somebody will. You know that.
That's what he's already thinking about.
Sure.
Oh, it would have been so easy if it just finished out a no-hitter, and would have been sweet, but it's not to be today.
With the tabloids, all those writers that travel with the club, you know that somebody's going to ask that.
5-0. Joe Torre's Yanks lead here in the 9th. Batista takes the pitch. It's 1-2.
And all along, Joe Torre, and I know again back when the A's were in New York, when there was a rumor that Cone would be coming back, he has said we want him to come back because he's ready, not to come back to be our savior because we're struggling. So he has told the press, and I'm sure Mel Stoudemire told the press, the media, that hey, he's going to come back. He's going to throw so many pitches. And at 84 after 7, if you try to go put him out there in the 8th inning, he starts to struggle. Again, you take the chance of hurting him even more. I'm sure, weren't even thinking that this would happen. They just wanted him to come back and have a good game.
Here's the 1-2, and that is strike 3 called. Batista gone, 2 down here in the 9th. The Yanks, after this game, have 25 left and will lead Baltimore by no more than 5 games. So, hey, you know, Joe Torre is worried about one thing, and that's getting to postseason play. Jason Giambi has walked twice and lined to short. Martinez at first plays behind Herrera with 2 outs in the 9th. The A's are trailing it 5-0. They have been out hit 10-1, and that's a strike.
Even Reggie's shaking his head.
Herrera goes, and the pitch fouled away. Jose says if they'll give it, I'll take it.
Kind of reminds me of Greg Gagne actually bunting against Todd Sotomayor a couple of years ago here at the Coliseum. And it was late in the game. Bunted in a similar play, called safe at first, although he was out. Bobby Witt had a perfect game. It would have been a perfect game had he been called out, which he was. But he bunted in the latter part and was called safe.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Tomorrow night, Don Wengert against the Yankees' Dwight Gooden. 7:05 first pitch. Hope you'll be out here at the Coliseum. The game will be on Sports Channel if you cannot make it. We'll be with you again Friday night at 7. This ball fouled off to the left. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Giambi may have broken his bat.
Talked about Charlie Hayes. This is the position he should have been in whenever Herrera was at the plate. If you take a look around.
That'd have been right at him, wouldn't it?
That's right. Maybe a little closer to the line, but still, with Rivera's good fastball, pitching hitters away, left-handers especially. That's the place to play it.
The A's are down to their final out here in the 9th. They have won only 2 of the previous 9 from the Yankees this season. Yankees swept 3 here earlier. This is the opener of a 3-game series. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
You know who's going to get more attention than anybody? Larry McCoy.
Yeah, he'll get a lot of attention, but he just answers it and says, hey, out is out, safe is safe, doesn't he?
That's right.
Pretty simple.
And again, you have to give Jim Evans, a home plate umpire, not getting caught up in this, because there have been some close pitches. He could have rung up a couple of hitters, and same for Larry McCoy at first. A lot of professionalism in this for the umpires as well.
Ground ball. Fox to Jeter. They get the force on Herrera, and that's how this one ends. The A's, with 1 out in the 9th, get an infield single from Jose Herrera to spoil the Yankees no-hitter. But New York wins the opener of the series 5-0. We'll return to the Coliseum in just a moment. A's baseball has been brought to you in part by Miller Lite. When you've got the great taste of an ice-cold Miller Lite, life is good. And by the Northern California Toyota dealers, who invite you to visit your local Toyota dealer today.
Right. Right.
The medicating action of a proven itch fighter and the drying action of zinc oxide.
Gold Bond has that fresh, clean, tingly feeling. I lost the itch right away.
Gold Bond, more than a powder, it's medication.
This week, it's your guide to this fall's hottest, the best of the best, in GMA's Fall Preview 96.
That's this week
on Good Morning America.
ABC Tuesday. It was a masterful blend of laughter and tears.
Look at all the machines I'm hooked up to. If I was a car, this would cost $800 or $900.
The good news is they're giving me a loaner husband.
It's your last chance to catch one of the most incredible Roseannes, followed by Drew Carey, Home Improvement, and Coach, ABC Tuesday.
This is a special report from ABC News.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Mark Mullen, ABC News in New York. U.S. cruise missiles have been launched at Iraq, apparently in retaliation for its attack against rebel Kurds. We got this statement from the Pentagon just moments ago. I will read from it. At the direction of the President, the Department of Defense has launched cruise missiles to attack selected air defense targets in Iraq. No further details are available at this time. The President plans to make a formal statement on this operation at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 o'clock Pacific. Apparently, the Department of Defense and the Vice Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff will hold press conferences to give us more information after that. We should tell you that the alarm went off in the capital at 9:25 in Baghdad. That was 1:25 Eastern Time. Iraqis, apparently hardened by 2 recent wars and stifling economic and social conditions, apparently reacted very little when they heard the sirens going off in Baghdad. Apparently, this happens any time that any portion of Iraq is threatened, and so at least witness accounts tell us that people, for the most part, since it was in morning rush hour, apparently just went along their business. In this country, a senior Pentagon official speaking on condition of anonymity said the operation was joint, meaning Air Force and Navy forces had joined in the attack. Once again, U.S. cruise missiles have been launched at Iraq in retaliation for its attack against rebel Kurds. I'm Mark Mullen, ABC News, New York.
This has been a special report from ABC News. ABC's World News Now will continue after this from our ABC stations.
Thousands of women will lose a child to AIDS simply because they didn't get an HIV test when they were pregnant. You see, there's now treatment that can help stop the spread of HIV from mother to baby, which gives children of HIV-infected mothers something they never had before, a chance. If you're pregnant, please get an HIV test.
When Michael Johnson was a baby, he wasn't fast. He hardly moved at all. How times have changed.
While growing up, my dream was to become the fastest man on earth, and I've worked toward that goal all of my life. But none of that would have been possible if I got high on drugs. The only thing I would have become was a loser, and I want to win. Don't you?
Champions in any field stay drug-free. If you need help, call this number today.
If you've been watching a lot of television, you may have noticed recently that there's a Nike commercial starring Tiger Woods, or Eldrick Woods, which is his full name. It's a pointed reference to racial discord and racism, as hard-hitting as a 9-iron across the shins might be. Now, that commercial announces not only the emergence of golfer Tiger Woods onto the pro circuit, but his foray into potential stardom, that is, his anointment as perhaps a new symbol of the rejection of the color barrier. It also has a lot to do with money. Sporting goods companies hope that Woods will appeal to the millions of people who don't play golf. Indeed, the number of golfers in this country has dipped from 27.8 million in 1990 to 25 million last year. So Woods, who is of African-American and Thai background, could attract new consumers to what has generally been a pure white sport. Whether Woods can succeed and handle the pressure was the focus of last night's Nightline and correspondent Armin Katayan.
Just how good is Tiger Woods? Well, he can be this good. And this good.
Bring it in there.
And this good. At the Greater Milwaukee Open, record throngs showed up to see the pro debut of golf's latest legend in the making. A 20-year-old star with the game, the name, the guts, and the glamour to change this sport forever.
We want to see Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods? I think Tiger Woods can win.
All week, Woods awed young and old, black and white, with his spectacular drives and jeweler's touch. Mobbed by fans and the media at nearly every turn, Woods handled it like Arnold Palmer in his prime.
It's very positive because they support me. It's not like all these people are out here rooting against me, obviously, see?
Because of its idyllic beauty and intimate appeal, it's easy to forget golf is also a cutthroat business played by big-name sponsors. From tee to green, Americans spend about $18 billion a year on this sport. And for decades, advertisers and fans have longed for an American hero to fill the void left by Nicklaus and Palmer. In one short week, Woods reinvented the business side of golf. His $60 million multi-year endorsement package is rising by the hour as advertisers scramble to pay a premium for his cross-cultural appeal. Nike, which anteed up an estimated $50 million for Woods to wear its shoes and clothes, wasted no time filling the air with this in-your-face commercial.
It's a message that has been long awaited because it's very true. And being a person who is, I guess you could say non-white, I've had to experience that. And the Nike campaign is just telling the truth.
The truth is, as much as his mixed heritage has been played up in the past, Woods played down the issue of race.
I admired him for what he's done thus far, because for so long it was truly a game that a lot of minorities couldn't play. And so in that sense, he's carrying an extra burden along with him to succeed and expand and cross all racial barriers.
There it is.
The teachings behind the talent began long before he could walk. Slowly but surely, his game was shaped by an ex-Green Beret with a mission in mind.
It's about development of a person and as a golfer. And of the two, the most important thing is the development as a person.
The pictures tell the story when little Tiger began to roar. taking swings on national television, winning his first tournament at the grand old age of 8. Later on, an historic amateur career capped 1 week ago by this incredible comeback and a 3rd straight U.S. amateur crown. With nothing left to accomplish and sponsors clawing on his door, Woods said goodbye to amateur golf. Hello to the pros.
I'm going to play one shot at a time, and I have one hell of a good time.
The Greater Milwaukee Open proved a fitting backdrop to Woods' coming out party. Just 4 of the tour's top 30 prize winners were here, meaning this field was full of players once so full of promise, now struggling with life on the PGA Tour.
Robert Gomez is one such player. In 1990, he won the very first pro tournament he entered. 2 months later, he won again, holing out this 7-iron to shock Greg Norman by a stroke.
Oh, it's in!
But Gomez hasn't won since. 6 years of struggle to find the missing link.
It's real tough. It's you know, this game is all confidence, and right now I've got a little bit of confidence coming back. I'm starting to play better, but you know, for a while there I wasn't working as hard as I should have been, and lost my confidence.
Gomez says the test for Woods will be how he battles back from adversity, how he handles the highs and lows competing against the best players on earth.
He's been trained for this and been going through it for a long time, so we'll see how he handles the missed cuts and the bad play at times.
Hey, Fluff, y'all set to go hit some balls? Whatever you want to do, Tiger. Yeah, let's go hit some.
One of the top caddies on tour, Mike Fluff Cowan, was at Woods' side in Milwaukee, where the kid finished 7 under par, tied for 60th in a very weak field. He earned just $2,544 of the estimated $150,000 he needs in the next 6 weeks to secure a spot on the PGA Tour next season without a trip to qualifying school.
He's got all the physical tools, and the mental part is probably equally as strong, if not stronger. He's very focused on what he wants to accomplish, and he's just going about that in his own way.
Tiger Woods' way has quickly led to far-reaching fame and fortune, but it has brought enormous pressure as well. The question is whether anyone, no matter how talented, can live up to such expectations. This is Armin Katayan reporting for Nightline in Milwaukee.
A message about heartburn from the American College of Gastroenterology.
If you have heartburn more than twice a week, it may not be simple heartburn. You may have a more serious condition called reflux disease or GERD. My advice? If you have frequent heartburn or still have symptoms on your over-the-counter or prescription medicine, see your doctor or gastrointestinal specialist. They can help you live pain-free.
To learn more about heartburn and GERD, call 1-800-HRT-BURN.
For my feminine itching, I depend on Vagisil cream to stop it instantly. And for a painful, burning itch, I get maximum strength Vagisil for even stronger relief. There's Vagisil cream and maximum strength.
Minor arthritis pain. Wish you could go back in time to before arthritis? Try Capsaicin P with the topical ingredient doctors recommend most for arthritis pain. When the pain is gone, it's almost like you've gone back in time. Capsaicin P.
You're ready to quit. Great. Now, which patch? Single strength Nicotrol? But that means one single step. If you're not comfortable with that, you may want Nicoderm CQ. CQ's a 3-strength program. You start with the highest strength and gradually step down till you free yourself of nicotine. And gradual is the method doctors prefer 4 to 1. Nicoderm CQ. The power to calm, the power to comfort, the power to quit successfully.
A front airbag is a very powerful device designed to help protect an adult, not a child. Because of the size of the bag and the speed of its inflation, Volvo believes no child should ever be placed in the front seat of a car. Any car. Drive safely.
I can't get my kids to eat right. All they want is junk food.
Yeah. Do they like chocolate milk?
Sure.
One way to give them extra nutrition is with rich chocolate Ovaltine. It's got vitamins Nestle Quick and Hershey's don't.
Yeah, it may be good for them, but will they like it?
My kids love it. They absolutely love it.
So my kids will like Ovaltine and it's good for them? Wow.
When my kids want chocolate milk, it's rich chocolate Ovaltine.
Rich chocolate Ovaltine in the new blue package. Tastes great. Great for you.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, U.S. cruise missiles have been launched at Iraq in retaliation for its attack against rebel Kurds. We are joined on the telephone right now by ABC's chief foreign correspondent, Garrick Utley, who is on the telephone from Amman, Jordan. Garrick, what can you tell us, please?
Well, the information that we're getting here in Amman is that the air attacks, or the cruise missile attacks, did begin at first light this morning in and around Baghdad. The sirens went off in the Iraqi capital. Cruise missiles have been aimed at air defense installations, radar installations around the city itself. Also reports coming out about the use of B-52s in the raids. No details as to how many yet received here. This is very significant because it is, of course, the first time planes of that size, strategic bombers which can fly thousands of miles, have been used against Saddam Hussein, against Iraq. The reason probably for the raids taking place at first light rather than overnight in the cover of darkness was that the B-52s operate better in daylight. They operate from a great altitude. They're reasonably safe from ground-to-air missiles. And as far as we know, we do not yet know whether there are going to be more follow-up attacks, whether the raids will be limited to these installations. That's all we know right now, Mark.
Garrick, as we have been hearing, Iraqi troops had pulled back from the Kurdish city of Erbil. Apparently that was still not enough to satisfy the Clinton administration.
No, I think we have to distinguish between two things here. Although the Clinton administration and the other Western allies objected to Saddam Hussein sending his troops north of the 36th parallel into that exclusion zone in northern Iraq, the United States and other nations, particularly NATO nations, have always said that retaliation did not have to be linked specifically and solely to that area. They wanted to send a signal, in effect punch Saddam Hussein in the nose, and reserve the right to strike anywhere. And it is significant they are striking close to the capital, indeed around the capital, but it appears right now solely at military installations. And that's the message they are sending. We can hit you anywhere. Indeed, we can hit you with any kind of a weapon, including a B-52.
I'm sure there will be debate and questions about whether the U.S. had to act in a situation such as this. What was at stake for the United States? Why did they have to react, Garrick?
Well, ever since the Gulf War, it's been apparent that one of Saddam Hussein's missions in life is to assert himself, to try to test the United States and the NATO allies as to whether we would react or wouldn't react. And he acted once again, and now the West is reacting. It's as simple as that.
Okay, ABC's chief foreign correspondent, Garrick Utley, thank you very much.
Yeah, I remember kicking it with my friends, you know, back in the day. We'd get high and do all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah, I always liked to party. Me and my girlfriends would get all dressed up, go out, have a good time, and party all night long.
I remember my mom's. She was always real supportive.
I can't take this anymore! Take your drugs and get out!
You all seem to remember the good times. Good times, good times, good times. If they were so good, why are you here?
Stay drug-free. If you need help, call this number today.
Late one night in California.
Every week for the past 4 years, Stephanie has read stories to a room full of Savannah, Georgia preschoolers. Every week, the look on the children's faces is priceless. The love that Stephanie feels from every child has made her life a whole lot brighter. Even though Stephanie has never even seen their faces. To see how you can help in your community, call the Points of Light Foundation. Do something good. Feel something real.
So blind to see that the ones we hurt
against the wall.
Annie Potts.
You want a better life?
If that is worth my time, is it worth yours?
High school has changed. Dangerous Minds. ABC Mondays this September.
Hi,
I'm Mike, this is Ashley, and we're an item on the new ABC comedy Spin City.
I'm a reporter, and he's the deputy mayor of New York City. Interview with the governor needs to be scheduled.
She's a workaholic. Postponed the mayor's teleconference at 3:15, canceled his hair appointment.
Yeah, and he's Mr. Layback, huh?
Canceled dinner with Ashley.
Inform Mike that if he cancels dinner tonight, he can cancel this relationship.
Canceling dinner with Ashley. Michael J. Fox is back. Spin City, 2 weeks from Tuesday on ABC.
Hello from New York, I'm Mark Mullen.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Thalia. Here's the headlines at this hour. The United States launches a military strike against Iraq. The attack follows the weekend Iraqi troop movement in a Kurdish safe haven. A weakening Edouard departs Cape Cod. As well this half hour, Edouard's impact on their TV news from Boston. And a spelling bee where experience counts. We begin, as always, with the top of the news, top story, Iraq.
The Pentagon confirms now that the U.S. military has launched an attack on Iraq. That word came shortly after air raid sirens sounded in the Iraqi capital of Baghdad this morning. President Clinton had promised retaliation for Iraq's military foray into the Kurdish safe haven in northern Iraq this weekend. ABC's Nathan Thomas joins us with details. And Nathan, before you begin, I will tell you the latest wire copy is indicating that the strike, according to one official, is over. Short of that, please bring us up to date.
Well, what we don't know is probably more than we do know. We don't know for sure how many cruise missiles were involved with this. They could have come either from B-52 fighters or from ships in the Persian Gulf. The last time that the U.S. attacked Iran in 1993, there were about 23 missiles fired into various military targets. This time we would probably expect at least a similar number. The point of all of this, of course, is to send Saddam Hussein a message. And that message has got to be strong enough for it to mean something to him. The targets, we don't know exactly what they are yet. There are a lot of military targets, and we assume that it is only military targets that these missiles were focused on. There are command and control centers all through Baghdad. There are military factories. There are troop barracks and so on. The attack came after daylight in Iraq, and it's very possible that this was done for an effect on the population. Cruise missiles, and I have seen this during the Gulf War in Baghdad, you can actually see them flying across that city, and that, of course, is going to send a message not only to Saddam Hussein, but also to the people in the Iraqi capital.
Nathan, you were in Baghdad for the Gulf War, and I'm curious about your take on one thing. We were hearing some accounts this morning that since it happened at 9:30 a.m. Baghdad time, that people apparently were not reacting too strongly. Are air raid sirens common in the capital city of Baghdad?
Well, certainly they're not common most of the time, but in this situation it would be easily imaginable that people were expecting something. I mean, the United States since Saturday has been saying there will be a response. No one was sure when it would come. But in Iraq, because this has happened before, people were probably quite ready for it. Again, we don't know exactly where those missiles were hitting, so the air raid sirens sound. But Iraq is a big city. It's got tall buildings, and depending on the area that any individual would be in, you would hear the air raid sirens, but very likely perhaps not have any effect of knowing exactly where the missiles were hitting or what they were doing. So the reaction probably won't be there. The targets could be on the outskirts of Baghdad for all we know, radar installations and so on. So there's probably not going to be an immediate effect, and about the only effect that there can be is people taking shelter inside buildings and the air raid shelters that are all over that city.
Okay, ABC's Nathan Thomas, thank you very much. Once again, U.S. cruise missiles have been launched at Iraq in retaliation for its attack against rebel Kurds, and latest wire copy indicates from one official that the strike apparently is over at this time. Thalia.
Mark, on now to other news. GOP presidential hopeful Bob Dole yesterday accused the Clinton administration of weak leadership in foreign affairs. Dole was asked about the Iraqi crisis at a Labor Day rally in Salt Lake City, Utah. Now today, before a convention of the American Legion, Dole is expected to spell out his views on the Iraqi crisis in detail. And President Clinton is going to detail the attack that occurred on Iraq, apparently at a news conference at 8 a.m. Eastern Time this morning. Back to yesterday, parades and rallies were a labor of love across the nation for the country's working men and women. In Cincinnati, thousands took part in the AFL-CIO's 12th annual rally and picnic. Similar celebrations took place around the country, of course, including Detroit. Organizers say good weather and pleasant temperatures helped boost attendance this year.
Well, not just a tropical storm. Edward is spinning by Nova Scotia this morning. The storm caused some damage in coastal New England over the holiday weekend, but not the mayhem that many had feared. ABC's Deborah Weiner reports on the aftermath from Cape Cod, Massachusetts.
In the end, Cape Cod officials called Hurricane Edward a gentleman. The storm that had once packed winds of 140 miles per hour weakened when it finally reached New England. In Chatham, the easternmost tip of the Cape, this was among the worst damage. There was also minor flooding, some power outages, no reported injuries.
How would you characterize Edward? Mild compared to other hurricanes and storms that have gone through the Cape.
We were lucky. Could have been a lot worse.
What helped was that the center of the hurricane never reached land. The storm got no closer than 80 miles off Nantucket. 90-mile-an-hour wind gusts were felt on the resort island. But for most of Cape Cod, it was just a rainy, windy Labor Day that scared away thousands of tourists. Those who stayed behind seemed unfazed. So this was the last day of the summer vacation season on Cape Cod. Wind, rain, empty beaches. The weather's expected to clear on Tuesday. Deborah Weiner, ABC News, Chatham, Massachusetts.
On now to Hurricane Fran, spinning toward the central Caribbean islands now, moving at 14 miles per hour with 80-mile-an-hour winds. It's expected to pick up power as it heads toward Florida. It may hit the U.S. coast by Thursday or perhaps Friday. Also, rainstorms in the southwest, southern Rockies, and northern plains. As for temperatures, well, mercury in the 80s across most of the country. World News Now National Temperature Index stands at those numbers now. And now some local forecasts, as well as a look at Rocky Mountain National Park, which is in Colorado.
World News Now weather, brought to you by Mentadent Oral Care.
Being married to a dentist, we're always getting free samples of toothpaste. But what do? I buy Mentadent.
Mentadent has all three ingredients dentists recommend most for the care of teeth and gums.
Fluoride, baking soda, and peroxide. These are the ingredients my husband recommends. On your toothbrush, into your mouth, as you're brushing, you can feel bubbles everywhere. Hundreds of bubbles all over your mouth, giving you a fresh, clean feeling. Mentadent's accepted by the American Dental Association. My husband would never recommend a product that wasn't.
Hey, Jimmy, how's the leg?
Leg's just fine.
Doesn't look too good.
No pain at all.
The way you banged it up the other day?
No problem. Doctor gave me Tylenol. Extra strength.
Tylenol? For that kind of pain?
Just watch me, son.
For the pain of traumatic injuries, Tylenol is recommended the most by doctors.
Hey, Brad. How's my leg?
Tylenol, the pain reliever hospitals use most.
Dear Mom, camp is rough. Being out in the wild sure makes a kid hungry. But the sandwiches we got just aren't enough. It makes me homesick for you and a hot bowl of Campbell's tomato soup.
Nothing turns an ordinary sandwich into a hot, satisfying meal like rich, wholesome Campbell's tomato soup.
Mom?
I brought you something for those sandwiches.
Wow, tomato soup. You're the best, Mom.
Campbell's makes everything.
better.
Male itch.
I still had the male itch. The constant burn.
Male itch sufferers get relief with Gold Bond medicated powder.
The Gold Bond medicated powder completely cleared up the itch.
Gold Bond's triple action formula stops male itch with a proven medicated itch fighter, the absorbing action of powder, and the drying action of zinc oxide.
The Gold Bond medicated powder gave me the relief that I've been looking for a long time.
Triple action Gold Bond medicated powder stops male itch.
Nobody needs a breath mint like you-know-who. Good thing there's Clorox Automatic Toilet Cleaner with Clorox bleach. Every flush fights stains and deodorizes. Clorox Automatic. A breath mint for you-know-who.
Oh, that gross white stuff that gets in your clothes from your antiperspirant? Fan Clear Roll-On can clear it up. All the dryness protection you need without the gross white stuff. Fan Clear Roll-On. It works with no white stuff.
Welcome back to World News Now. Now updating our top story, U.S. launched a quick volley of cruise missiles in northern Iraq early this morning. This in retaliation for Iraqi troops invading a city in the Allied protected no-fly zone in northern Iraq. The U.S. government said the targets were selected, but they did not elaborate. The missile attack at this point is said to be over. Damage and casualties not known. Air raid sirens sounded at Baghdad at 9:25 a.m., 1:25 a.m. Eastern Time. President Clinton will hold a press conference to comment at 8 o'clock Eastern Time this morning.
And we will, of course, keep you up to date on the missile launching in Iraq, but in the meantime there is other news. In fact, there's sports news, and that's what we're going to go on to right now. World Cup hockey action. It continued at Madison Square Garden in New York, where the United States beat the Russians. Quite the game it was. Just 27 seconds into the game, Brian Leach to Pat LaFontaine to Adam Deadmarsh for the goal and a 1-zip lead. The United States went up 2-zip when John Leclerc stuffed the puck into the Russian net. Told ya. And then coming up, really quite a pretty goal by LaFontaine, taking it in all alone right there for a 3-0 lead. The United States beat Russia 5-2, and the victory locked up first place for the U.S. in the World Cup's North American pool. Some baseball. Shortstop Alex Rodriguez of the Seattle Mariners is one of the leading contenders for most valuable player in the American League. Just 20 years old, he has emerged this season as a star, becoming only the 5th shortstop to hit more than 30 homers in a season. ESPN's Linda Cohen has a report, and we've added the scores.
From the Seattle Mariners, shortstop Alex Rodriguez.
If numbers never lie, then the truth about Alex Rodriguez is he's good.
My vote right now, at this moment, he would be the most valuable player.
Fly ball deep into left center field. Edmonds back to the track, to the wall. Goodbye, baseball.
The American League's top hitter, the 5th shortstop in history to hit 30 homers in a season, the century mark in RBIs and runs scored.
Alex, a tee shot to left field. If that's fair, it's gone, and that is a fair ball. Fly away.
But the number that may be the most impressive?
We don't treat Alex as a 21-year-old. He's, whether he's 20 or 30, you know, when we talk to him as the coaches or the players, I mean, he's just another player, and age doesn't matter once you're on the field.
In the season of great young shortstops, Rodriguez has risen above the fold. Defensively, he's excelled, but it's offensively where he's distanced himself from the pack, even if he doesn't think so.
Offensively, I go into lapses in which I start jumping at the ball, and I get really lost at the plate. But that's all right. I'm a shortstop. You know, I'm not supposed to hit. Obviously, the 360 and all that is a notch above what everybody thought, I think, including myself. But, I mean, I hit 360 in the minor leagues last year, so it didn't come completely out of left field. I had an idea of what I was doing at the plate.
Center field, Lofton is back to the warning track, to the wall, leaps. It's gone.
There is a limit. I just don't know what it is. And number two, I have guys like Junior behind me and Edgar Martinez and Jay Buhner. And pitchers know that, and they know they have to somewhat come give me some good pitches to hit, and that's where I've excelled this year, because of those guys.
ABC's World News Now will continue after this from our ABC stations.
Oh, my God.
forbid you to ever speak of this.
I shan't. So, how far did this go? Did you actually...
I mean, I guess we kissed one time. Or twice, but that was as far as it went.
These kisses, were they like hello and goodbye kisses, or were they more like actual...
They were,
Right.
Relativity, this September on ABC. Look who's brewing up trouble on TGIF. No broomsticks.
You'll learn to control your magic.
One more try.
Wow.
No pointy hats.
You're an even bigger freak than I thought. Cool.
No warts on the nose.
Don't come in here again. You use the freak's bathroom.
I love being a witch.
Sabrina, the Teenage Witch.
Every school needs a weird kid.
The magic is on TGIF this September.
Might as well be me.
Tropical storm Gustav is dead. It had swirled and puffed in the South Atlantic, but now it has sputtered and died. Hurricane Fran, however, still may have eyes for the southeast U.S. coast. It's simply that time of year. Hurricane Edouard had winds well over 100 miles an hour at one point, but those have faded and the storm has taken a turn for the east. Nova Scotia is the latest in its path. It has been bringing rain and high wind there. Edouard did, however, disrupt the last three-day weekend of the summer on the Massachusetts and Rhode Island beaches. There was some damage from its side winds and economic losses as vacationers fled the beaches.
WCPB-TV, Boston. Now, this is News Center 5. Coverage you can count on.
The costly aftermath of a hurricane. Boat owners venture out into the surf tonight to survey the damage. Homeowners wade through ankle-deep water, lapping at their doorsteps. Hurricane Edouard doesn't quite cause the damage that had been feared, but it brings a wet, windy, crashing halt to the summer, which some say never was. Nantucket is considered by many vacationers the best place to be for a summer weekend. Today it was the worst. Dozens of residents were chased into shelters. Normally booming businesses were closed. With the ferry shut down, islanders could do nothing other than stay put and in some cases look on helplessly as Hurricane Edouard rocked, battered, and sank their boats. News Center 5's Ron Gollivin spent the day on Nantucket.
The early morning light caught the fury of Edouard as it lashed the island with winds up to 91 miles an hour and blew sheets of rain horizontally. All along the shore near the town pier laid the beached and helpless hulls of boats, caught up and tossed upon the sand by the storm during the night. One foolhardy soul walked through the churning surf to check out his craft, hard ashore. And indeed, the water's edge was fairly littered with these expensive wrecks. Battered by the sea, no match for Edouard. At least one sailing yacht was not even safe on the blocks of the marina. The wind found anything not battened down and tugged and twisted until it came loose. We watched from the Brant Point Coast Guard station as one sailboat sank before our eyes. Limbs and branches and whole trees topped